Welcome back to my channel. Tonight I have Christen from I See Stars Quilting. She has agreed to join us for Meet the Makers tonight, and I am so appreciative to you for taking the time to be here. We're all really excited to get to know you a little bit better. And so, yeah, let's just kick it off. Let's get into our questions. I'm not going to try and keep you all night because like we were talking, I'm kind of a rambler. So let's get right into it. Would you care to give us a brief introduction?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me tonight. This is really fun. I've been looking forward to this like all week. So, um, as far as me, I have a blog, socials, all that, and a YouTube channel on modern quilting. So I teach modern quilting. I share all of my tips and tricks and tutorials and all things modern quilting. I also do a lot with creativity, but my main focus is quilting. I love to quilt. I love to meet other quilters. Quilters are like the best people. They really are. If you have a chance to go and be in a group of them, they're the best people. So that's what I focus on. I have a very large background in like design and graphics, but so I love to design quilt patterns and all that too. But my main focus is sharing all of my tips and tricks and trying to educate people and make it fun. Make it fun.
Well, and like you were saying, being around a group, you are in Texas, so I saw that you went to QuiltCon. Please tell me about that experience because I am so jealous. I wish it was nearby in Kansas City sometime soon, hopefully.
Let's see. It's not coming to Kansas soon because we've got QuiltCon 2023 is going to be in Atlanta, and then 2024 is going to be in Raleigh.
Yes.
I think it's Raleigh, but it's going to be in Raleigh, and I don't know what they're doing for 2025. But if you come to Houston, they have the International Festival, which is the biggest festival in the world, every single year here in Houston. And when I say it's big, like it takes me a couple days. So you have like the side with all the shops on it, and like the main fabric brands come up. They have all like the lessons that you can take and the classes you can take and the teachers that come and present all of this stuff. And then we have the show quilts on the other side. Now it's in a convention center, which is ginormous. And I mean, you put your walking shoes on because nobody's caring about footwear there. Like we are there for comfort, and we save up money and we go to this show, and it's so much fun. And I have a couple of videos on my channel where I kind of tried to give that experience of like what it's like to go through there. But videos don't do it justice.
No,
they really don't. And it's wild when you are like wall to wall in a giant convention center with like thousands of other quilters.
That sounds like amazing though. Hey friends, hey you.
It is. The energy is insane. I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's funny. Like one time, Jenny Doan was there from Missouri Star, and I watched like 30 people complete like teenagers, and I was very early on in my quilting at that point, and I recognized her. I was like, oh, that's cool. There's like other like real people here. And then she was just mobbed.
Oh, wow.
And I just had to giggle because like, this is a different world that I've entered into. But yeah, I get like lots of like I love shopping the Japanese fabrics. There's been several Australian booths there lately too, so you get a really good selection of fabric, and it's so much fun. I could talk about that forever. So if you have like more questions, let me know.
That sounds amazing. I really love Asian inspired fabric as well, because a lot of it, just like the line work of it, and when you pop it in with some metallic, it's so pretty. I love that kind of fabric. What is your first quilt related memory or experience? How did you jump into the big wide ocean of quilting?
Okay, this isn't maybe as exciting as you wanted here, but I'm going to tell you how I got into it. So my background is I went to college for art and design, right? Actually, marketing was the focus, but I really enjoyed like the hands-on classes, like the ceramics class and printmaking class. And I even took like a textile class in there and stuff. I really loved it. And I still continued to practice all of those skills until I had kids. Once you have kids, as I saw your little one earlier, you can't leave projects out on the dining table anymore.
Yep.
Like paints and all of the other, like, I don't know, goos and stuff, glues that I was working with, you can't leave that out anymore. So I just put it away. And I realized the toll that it took on me, like just spiritually and like, just myself. Like I also new mom. So I was just kind of like just burnt out. Like I needed to create. I was just a vessel for like, get the milk, get the Cheerios, get the milk, back and forth. Like, and I had an idea one day and I said, because my kids were fighting over this blanket on the couch. Like they both wanted to like watch this movie on the couch with me and we were fighting over the blanket. And I was like, I'm going to make everybody their own blanket. And I scooped them up. We went to Joann's and I let them pick out the fabric because I'm also thinking like, these kids aren't going to let me sew. Right? They're not going to let me sew. So I let them pick out the fabric and I made it very simple, like 1 yard on the front, 1 yard on the back, the batting in between, which was actually like an old piece of flannel that I had like in between. And I made a Cinderella quilt and a Batman quilt. And because I was making it for them, they let me do it.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment where like the light went off and I was like, the reason that you just feel like this is because you're not creating anymore. And I know that like my place in this world is to create things. And that's kind of like my motto that I try and carry on is like to create something every single day, something beautiful every single day. And I realized that I wasn't fulfilling that purpose anymore. And so it just kind of like, I was like, well, maybe I'll make me something. And I tried something with like a floor patch square, like really, really simple. And then that's when like the design mode kicked in and I was like, I'm gonna make my own quilt pattern. And it just kind of grew from there. So it started out with a Cinderella and a Batman quilt.
Wow. That's
prior to that, I hadn't had any quilting experience or knowledge. I just, I got an old sewing machine when we first got married because we were broke and I wanted to decorate our first apartment. And so like I got an old sewing machine and I made like curtains out of like really cheap fabric and like so prior to that I really didn't have any quilting knowledge.
So how did you go about learning how to quilt? Because as we know, there's a lot to learn. So are you self-taught or did you go to YouTube Academy or how did that happen for you?
So most of my skills are self-taught and that's why I share like my tips and tricks is because I think I can do everything. And then I very quickly realized maybe I should look at a tutorial, after I make those mistakes and then I have to undo them and then redo them. Those first quilts, they've been long gone, like, I mean, they were torn up all over the couch and like, they just, little kids running around with them. They're gone. And I made a lot of mistakes with those, including not actually quilting them, but like I just did like a border to sew it all together. So like when it went into the wash, it just does that like big like pillow thing. So I am self-taught. I have kind of connected with a few friends that are really, really good at quilting and have leaned heavily on them over the years. Like one friend is a friend of my mom's and I've become very, very close with her. And so I've leaned very, very heavily on her. I've also got a couple people that I follow on YouTube that I've learned from. And a lot of it is just, sorry, that's my husband bringing me water.
We got
yes. So I've kind of learned on the shoulders of others, and then I've tried to carry that knowledge because it's such a confusing world.
Yeah.
As there's so many different ways to do it. And so mostly self-taught, mostly because I make a ton of errors thinking I can do things. And then I have to go back and figure out how to do it. So
yeah.
I see everybody that's saying hello over in the chat. So hi.
Stephanie. Well, there's Yeah, it's hard. And Crystal, it's hard to keep up. There's like so many people. Oh my goodness. I'm covering the hello everyone. um, let's see. What is your favorite part of the quilting process? Like, what do you live for when you start a quilt?
Um, I really love the design process. I love to go in and figure out what I'm going to make. And I start dreaming of all the fabrics and the colors and the way it's all going to come together. And then, um, so I probably like that part. I've got so many quilts in my mind that I want to make. I don't have the time to make them just yet, but I will one day. And then I really love the binding, actually. I know that's
I
like
love
a,
the binding
you
too.
do?
I do. Heather, if you're watching this, I found another binding friend. She despises binding. I'm like, it's so fun. It's the
Okay,
very
that's the
best
last
part.
step.
Exactly. And you get around that last corner and you're like, I'm about to finish a quilt. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna finish a quilt. It's the best feeling. And it doesn't take as long as like basting and quilting and like cutting. Everything else takes light years, it feels like. But then you get to the binding and you're like, I'm done. I'm done. It feels good.
Yes. And it also depends on how you do your binding too. If
Yeah.
you do it by hand, no thank you. But if you do it by machine, oh yeah,
Yeah.
like that's my favorite part.
So
Oh,
you
look,
do.
we have somebody else who loves to bind too.
Yay!
So, yay.
That's awesome, Donna. Do you machine bind on both sides? Because I know there's like some people who prefer to do machine bind on to the back and then hand stitch onto the front. Do you just do all machine binding? Okay. Yep.
I don't have time to do that. I don't
Yeah.
have time to do that.
I feel like also for me the reason why is like I know it's going to take a lot longer. So I have more of a chance of putting it off if it takes too long. Machine binding's quick. Lickety split. Just get it done.
Exactly. Yes.
What's your least favorite part in the quilting process?
Um, the part where it goes from quilt top to quilted. That part seems to like stretch out forever. Like I have so many quilt tops, but I get so excited about the next quilt
Yeah.
that like I'm just gonna put this in the corner and I'll get to it when I get to it, which
Yeah.
is catching up with me quite a lot. I did a
Yeah.
video with all of my works in progress and I had a lot of very opinionated people tell me like, what are you doing? You should like really get on those. I don't know. I'm sorry.
That that had a question for later on. Like, I know there's some people, they're very, very unique, I feel like, to work on one project at a time, start to finish. So you just answered that question. You like to just hop around, get quilt tops done. Do you have
Yeah.
any like bucket list quilts that, you were saying you have a few in your mind that you want to make? Are there any specific patterns that you are hoping to make at some point in your life?
I have several quilt kits that I
Oh,
have
cool.
like purchased from the shows that I want to make simply because like I own them, I have them. My I hate for a quilt to sit in a bag like that and like never reach its full potential. Now,
Yeah.
when I first started quilting, I was very much a one project. I'm going to quilt it and then I'm going to finish it. I'm going to bind it and then I'm going to start the next one. And I remember I was sitting at a friend's quilt group. I was like a guest there and I mentioned that and I heard some of them kind of like snicker in the background. And I was just like, if you can't get your life together, that's not my fault. And then like 10 years later, I'm like, I have 30 projects undone. I have no idea what's happening. So
You like go through and you find like one from 3 years ago in a drawer somewhere. Oh, I made that. Oh, I remember that. Or do I?
oh, yes. Okay, I know the project that I'm really excited to work on. And it's one that I
Yeah.
started a long time ago. And then it just got set aside because it was too much work at the time. But so I live in Houston and we're really big Astros fans. And the mascot for the Astros is this adorable, he's like a toddler alien. His name is Orbit. And it's the cutest thing. Okay. So I designed a quilt pattern completely around him and it's 2-inch squares, so it's like little 2-inch squares.
Yeah.
And it does like his whole his little face and he's holding like a little astro sign and I designed it and they won the World Series that year and I
Oh,
was so
wow.
excited. And then the next year they didn't do so hot, so I didn't have that motivation to like really finish it up, but they're doing really good this year again. Like we were just at the game earlier this week, so I really want to finish that one while they're like still doing
Yeah.
good.
Be a good luck charm. Don't jinx it though. Maybe do it like after, just in case.
Yeah, that's one that I want to. I have a couple connections with some charity groups,
Oh,
and I
cool.
want to donate that one to be auctioned off,
Oh, wow.
so that it will hopefully bring in some good
That's
income. And
thoughtful. And
yeah,
that's just a testament to really like quilters are some of the best people, like you had mentioned earlier. I think we're just all kind of givers. We give in our own way, our special talents, or, I think that's really special that you're going to do that. I think that's really cool. So, let's see. So, you don't need to describe your quilting style. We know you're a modern quilter. So, what does modern quilting mean to you? Like, how do you represent that in your kids?
modern quilting to me, and I think this is a different like description for every single person you ask probably, but to me personally, it's quilting more for the looks of it than the function of it.
Yeah.
So it goes into like choosing the different fabrics, not just because it's a piece of fabric, but because it's a specific color, it's a specific design, really thinking about the way that it looks, more so than the function of
Yeah.
it. So it's more of an art piece, and I strongly suggest people doing like the whole 360 side of it. So like, not just slapping some stuff on the back of it, but like if you were to turn that quilt around, is it just as pretty as the front of it?
Yeah.
And really picking out like an interesting binding. And
Yeah.
that may just go back into like my artistry background of it, but really thinking about every single piece of it to make it look pretty, and not just look pretty, but like looks over function.
Yeah, I love that. So when you are putting quilts together, what fabrics are you grabbing for? Do you have any special fabric designers that you really love or collections that you love? What does your stash look like right now?
My stash is a mess. Do you see
Same.
this? Okay, like I got a new cabinet on the side over here that you can't see. Like I got another one of these cabinets, and there's nothing in it right now, so everything just like got slashed into these. So they're really messy right now. I love Allison Glass. Like I saw her from afar once at a quilt show, and I could not breathe. So um someday I'm gonna get up the guts. I'm gonna tell her that I love her stuff. But
Yeah.
I also really like Carrie Bloomston. Have you seen her stuff?
I think so, yes.
She does a lot with like some of her older lines, not the newest one. The newest one's more like color theory and like rainbow and kind of crayon style
Yeah.
look. But she mixes like different mediums together. So she's actually like an art teacher
Oh,
who does
wow.
fabric on the side. And
Wow.
so she kind of mixes like a newsprint look with like a painted look, and it just kind of, it really has depth to it. So I really like her. I love Cotton and Steel. I love all of their like, I don't think there's one that I don't like right now, actually.
Yeah.
That's probably a shorter list.
Yeah. um, do you have any favorite notions that you are constantly grabbing for while you're quilting that you'd like to share with us?
I do. Okay, let me share with you. I share this with everybody, but there's these scissors. Okay, they're Ginger. They're made in, well, it says Italy on it. I'm guessing. Oh, that's the wrong side. There you go. It's they said that they're made in Italy. These scissors are like $20 on Amazon.
Oh, wow. That's
And they're
really
like heavy, solid stainless steel scissors, and they stay sharp. So I
wow.
love these. They're like less than $20 on Amazon. I'm really like, if I can find something that's a really good deal, it's
Yeah.
even better. And
Especially-
then I love this thing too. So I'm right at my sewing machine. So this is perfect. I can like grab. Do you have this?
Yes, well, I have the similar one. It's the one from Purple Hobbies. It's a little flower. But I wanted that one when I was looking because we're from Kansas and I love sunflowers. But
Oh,
this thing, I agreed. This is like
yes.
top two, especially if you like binding. Because you can just go doop, 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 doop. It's the
Uh-huh.
best.
Exactly. Yes. So it has like a little blade right in there, and it can't cut myself on it. even better. And so when you're doing like chain piecing and stuff, you just take it and you just clip, clip, clip. You just push the threads in there and it cuts it. So I don't know why. I feel like I've really got my life together when I'm like cutting multiple pieces of thread in there.
Yeah, and you like check the time and you're like, that took me 3 seconds.
Yes.
Instead of like
I
the
mean,
you
not that
made.
like I can't be bothered to pick up a pair of scissors and cut it, but like I said,
It is
it's a
convenient.
very useful tool.
Yeah, I love that one. That's a good top 2 tool for sure.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite quilting hacks that you've learned along the way?
I love chain piecing. Like when you get all of your blocks together instead of like sewing like each row individually, you have to like
Web
how do I
piecing?
explain chain piecing in like one? Yeah, so it kind of like makes like a big quilt with like lots of little
Strings.
air pockets in it. Yeah, strings. I don't know. That maybe that wasn't the best one to like explain in a few seconds. And then I love machine binding.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the look of hand quilted binding, but I don't have it in me. So like a hack would be machine bind it and learn how to machine bind really well.
Yeah.
Because it takes practice and it takes like getting used to, and it even takes like finding the right width of binding to start with, because I have a friend who uses like 2-inch binding strips. I don't have it in me. Like it makes the cutest, tiniest little binding on there, but like my binding strips are like 2.75 is what I sew at.
I do 3 inches. I'm
Okay,
close.
sometimes I'll do 3 inches too.
It gives you just enough room to like
Yes.
finagle it a little bit, and if it's you can do a little bit of fudging. You don't have any room for fudging below 2.5. I feel like there's just no room.
So yeah, like finding those little things to like just do like a little bit more fabric on the binding, then you have room to kind of pull it a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
And then being really picky with cutting, I guess, is probably the last tip that I would have. Because if you start off with funky cutting, not exact cutting, you can never really catch up after that stage.
It ends up really fast.
Mhm.
I'm terrible at that. I just recently, so I've been quilting for a few years, and my friend is like, why are you cutting with your mat? You need to be cutting with your ruler. And that's something that when I was learning, I'd never really grasped. I've never really seen that explained in a video. And so now I'm like really making a conscious effort. Okay, use your ruler, use the straight edge of your ruler, and you're going to get better cutting because it does add up really fast. I'm not the best at cutting, so I can use all the tips there.
Well, that's like being self-taught. There are things that you're just will take you much longer to pick up on your own. And thankfully we have YouTube that like can explain one task 100 different ways.
Exactly. What advice do you have for new quilters?
Worry less about what other people want from you and quilt what makes you happy. You know, if you like start out on your first quilt, and I teach a lot of brand new quilters, and so I see them get like really frustrated in the beginning, and I sometimes have to like snap them out of it and say, did you do this so that you can have another really frustrating job when you get home from your other frustrating job?
Yeah.
Like this isn't something that you can pick up immediately, and people get really discouraged with like the I'm a beginner quilter. Like I still feel like a beginner quilter in a lot of ways, because somebody will show me something and like I feel dumb that I didn't know that before, you know, like even if you've been quilting for 20-30 years, there's still new ways to do it. There's still different ways to do it, and there's new patterns and things out there that you're never going to learn at all. So that's an exciting thing and an overwhelming thing at the same time. But quilting because you love it, not because somebody else expects you to do it. That's like, find what makes you happy. And if you don't like the cutting part and you're okay with your quilt being a little bit, you know, like not perfect, it's okay. Like, you know, embrace the imperfections.
Yeah, I feel like there was a light bulb moment that went off for me when I first started, and it was when I heard a perfect quilt. It's like a finished quilt is better than a perfect quilt. We are not machines. Leave your perfectionism at the door and just do it because you enjoy it. And I agree. Like that is one of the biggest things that I struggled with when I started. I'm like, why are my quilts not looking like her quilts? She's been quilting for 40 years. So that's why.
Yeah.
You have to give yourself grace and realize it takes so long. And even like you said, you're never going to get to the point where you've mastered everything. You just have to let that go.
Yes, and realizing that whatever you create is going to be the only thing in the world like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of empowering to me
Yeah.
as an artist, knowing that even if like a friend and I pick the same fabric and the same pattern, our two quilts are not going to be exactly alike.
Yeah.
And I have the only quilt out there that is going to look like the way mine does. So
Yeah. Well,
I
and then you get to cuddle with it when you're all done. That's what it's all about, right?
right, and I'll definitely have lots to choose from.
What are you working on right now? Do you have any quilts or work in
Um,
progress nearby?
I do have one I showed kind of in the video last week, but this one's still like sitting here on my table next to my sewing machine.
Pretty.
So it's okay, there's no way I can show you the whole thing. But like it's just half square triangles, and I made 8 at a time using 10-inch squares,
Mhm.
and it came together really fast. It took me about a day and a half to put together. But I also had to like take care of kids and dinner and all that stuff in between. So I
Yeah.
think if like you're focused, you could put it together in a day. But
Mhm.
that was one that I need to I'm probably gonna quilt next because it's a gift.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
Other things I'm working on is more videos.
yeah.
So
Well, speaking of, you mentioned you had other, kids and a life outside of quilting, which brings me to a question that a viewer has asked me to kind of include in this. How do you balance your quilting into your life? I mean, your job, your family, your YouTube. How do you juggle it all? What does that look like for you?
um if I had the perfect answer, I would absolutely share it with you. Um there is there's a quote that comes to mind, and I can't think of who said it at one point, but it was basically like in life, you're always juggling multiple balls at the same time. Some of them is, your stuff that you're doing at home. Some of them is your work projects. Some of it's like, working on your marriage. Some of it's working on craft projects. Some of it's working on your business, or like the side job or whatever. And you have to realize that those balls, some of them are always going to drop. You're going to miss them. And you have to figure out which of those balls are glass and which of those balls are rubber. So, what's most important at the moment? I don't have it all figured out. There's some nights where I'm up really, really late editing videos and working on quilt projects because, not only is it just quilting for fun, it's also quilting for a business and
Yeah.
sharing those things with people. And then I also have a lot of help at home. I have kids that are not tiny anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're like a brand new mom and you think that like, you know, you totally got this, you might for a few seconds, and then for a few seconds you won't have it, and then you
Yeah.
might get it back next week, and then you won't have it. Like it's just, it kind of constantly tumbles. And my
Yeah.
kids are 13 and 10. It's a very different life than when my kids were like 1 and 3,
Yeah.
and so I don't know, over the years I've just kind of learned that, sometimes my meal planning for the week is absolutely terrible, and we eat terrible for a week, and then other weeks we're cooking really, really great food, and I
Yeah.
haven't done a thing in the sewing room.
Yeah. Same.
Like, I don't know if that kind of explained it. Is like, it just, I think that's just how life is. It's like
Yeah.
you just kind of go through seasons, and sometimes those seasons are a couple days long, and sometimes they're like really, really, multiple weeks long where you have it all together. But I
Yeah.
don't think you ever just like flip into
Having it all
got this.
together at the same
Yeah.
all at the same time. Yeah. I agree with the small children. Like you saw my daughter Louise was down here before we started, and so we have a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 3-year-old, and my juggling is dropping a lot of balls. There are a lot of balls dropped. So yeah, I love that question though, because you see people on YouTube, you see people on Instagram sharing their quilts, and you're like, wait, they have a job outside of this. They have a family. Like, how do they just manage it all and make it look so seamless? But we just have to remember that we're all people and we have lives outside of what you see online and everything. So I think that's pretty cool.
And that's how I share so many tips and tricks, is I do it wrong. So
Yeah.
I then say, hey, don't do this. Do it this way. So
What
yeah.
has been running your business like? Like what prompted you, I guess we can get into your YouTube. What prompted you or motivated you to start a channel and kind of make a business out of this?
So several years back, I guess it's been about 6 years now, I decided that we were going to homeschool. And my son was like, he was just coming home from school in like a bad mood every single day. He was a little bit more advanced than the rest of the class was. And like, I know that all evens out at some point, but we decided to homeschool. And so I, at that time, had been doing a lot of freelance work, and I couldn't keep up with that anymore and homeschool at the same time, but we still needed income. And there was this wonderful thing called blogging that people were really getting into. And so I freelance designed for a long time.
Yeah.
I designed for other people. And, which is really fun and it sounds great until you realize that you're just a puppet. And like, if they want bad design, you have to create bad design.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. And so I decided freelancing had to go. And so I started blogging, and I started blogging about quilting and just sharing things that I was learning. And then YouTube didn't come till, I don't know, maybe it's been about 2 years now where I really started like focusing on my YouTube channel and seeing the potential there to just reach other people. So seeing kind of where the marketing world was going from that background side, and realizing videos is where it's going to be. Like, I can write blogs all day long, but people are digesting content via YouTube videos. So then YouTube just kept going.
Yeah, it definitely has. And it's probably like the go-to place for any tutorial. I mean, a lot of people are visual learners, so blogs are great, but to be able to film it and show like hands-on, this is what you do, I think that's, yeah. How long on average does it take for you to like plan, film, edit, put everything together? What, because we see, the video, what goes behind it? Tell us what you put into it.
Normally, like the planning, I will do kind of like every quarter, I'll kind of get a really good long list of videos that I want to create, or projects that I want to work on, or questions that I've seen come up in my inbox multiple times. And I know like this is something people need to know.
Yeah.
And I'll do that about once a quarter and get a really long list. And I'll kind of like just roughly schedule things out, because I do a video every single week. As far as like the filming and the editing and stuff, I do all the filming in one day. Because the makeup, the hair, this does not happen every day, okay? Like, you have like the YouTube mommy, and then you have like the mom with the messy bun and like
pajamas. Pajamas every day for me.
Yeah. Somebody put on there that I saw it just fly by really quick in the chat, but what did she say? The social media is a person's highlight reel.
Exactly.
So I liked that a lot. I'm sorry, I didn't see who said it, but I liked it a lot. So yeah, I do my filming like for one video, like in a day. Sometimes I'll do like a quick opening and closing of another video or something.
Yeah.
And then editing usually takes another half a day or so, because I'll sit down and I'll do it all at once. And I've got it down enough to where I know like we need an opening, we need a closing, I need to show what I'm doing, I need to show the finished product. So I kind of have an idea of what needs to go into the videos to make it all the way.
What is something you wish you would have known when you first started out? When you like took that leap, started your YouTube, what would you wish to have known?
I guess I wish I would have known in the beginning that there's no like moment of arrival. Like you're not like I'm done. This is it. There's always like you can get to like a level, and then as soon as you get to that level, you're like, well, look at there's another level,
Yeah.
and then there's another level, and then there's like, you really want to get like your channel monetized, or you really want to get like a sponsor, or you really like it just keeps going and you'll never be done. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I kind of like the fact that it will always be new and it'll always be interesting. I think I probably wish I don't know. I guess that's probably it. It's just I kind of like knowing that there's no end, but
Yeah.
I didn't anticipate that in the very beginning. And
Were
also,
there
people can see stuff from you from like years ago that's like so embarrassing, like terrible editing, and I'm like, don't go watch that. But
Yeah.
YouTube lives forever. So.
It's kind of like your Facebook. Like, I have Facebook profile pictures from like middle school, and I'm like, oh gosh, I hope no one ever goes through these things because they are extremely embarrassing. But then, like, if I delete it, especially with YouTube, probably more than old awkward FB photos, but with YouTube, you're like, well, that's still a valuable, like a good video, and it also serves as like a good point of comparison. Like, this is where I started, and like this is where I'm now, and I've learned so much. So I think that's really cool that you still have them on your channel. Keep them on there, don't get rid of them.
They're on there. I've developed a little bit of a thick skin. It is what it is. That's what I looked like several years ago. So
Yeah, I enjoyed them. Let's see. Do you have any short-term or long-term goals for your channel or your business as a whole?
Well, I'm currently teaching a 8-week class right now. So short term is to get all of my quilters finished with their first quilt. And long, I don't know how long. How long is long term for you?
Whatever pops up, because I know some people are like 5 years, 10 years. What is like the one that you're shooting for far out into the future?
Oh gosh, that's kind of a tough one. I'm not ready to share all of those goals yet. But I do have a retreat that I'm planning for. Is it okay for me to share about that?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So I have an online retreat. I've been doing it for several years now. Hey, there's somebody else from Texas in here. I do have an online retreat that I have been doing for several years now. And it just brings people together. It's virtual, so it's like not a huge, time investment, money investment, travel, and all of that. And it was kind of born out of the pandemic season, when people were just like, oh my God, I need to talk to somebody because my husband doesn't know what in the world I'm doing in here. And so I just brought everybody together and we did it through Zoom. And every single, like at least a couple times a month, I get emails saying, when's your next retreat? And it's just bringing people together. And that's my favorite thing. So I have that coming up in August and I'm planning that. I would love to do one in person, but I guess that's long term.
Yeah.
But so that's what I'm planning for near future.
That's very exciting. And I know that because I'm subscribed to your newsletter, so I'm just going to see if Austin or one of the moderators, if you could track down her newsletter link. She is always sending out amazing emails, and whenever I get them in my inbox, I'm like, oh, cool. It feels like you're messaging me personally, and there's always goodies in there. So if you're interested in following along with Christen, do go subscribe to her newsletter. It's full of goodies. And the online retreat sounds really fun. My thing is like taking your sewing machine, taking your cutting mat, taking all of that. I've never wanted to sign up for a retreat because it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to pack my whole sewing area. This is like my Zen space, And So I love that you are offering a virtual way to still connect with other quilters and do some sewing. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. Have you ever done a sewing retreat at all?
No, I have not. I'm a newbie. I haven't done a lot of classes, definitely no retreats. QuiltCon, that's why I'm so jealous. QuiltCon one day. One day I'll go.
Okay. Well, if you come to Houston, we will do a sewing retreat and I will take you to the International Quilt Fest and it will be amazing. Where are you at again? Remind me, Beth?
I'm in Kansas City,
Kansas City.
so yeah, but I have another quilty friend actually in Austin, and I've been like trying to get her to come out here, trying to go out there to do some sewing together. She's the one that doesn't like binding, so maybe all three of us can get together and get her on board with binding. That would be really fun.
Yes. Yeah, that would be amazing because there is a different energy when you are surrounded by other people quilting. And
Yeah,
just to be in a room with people who get what you do. Because I mean, I've said this a couple times on my channel, but like we're a different breed of people. All right. We take perfectly good fabric, we cut it up into all these really weird, wonky shapes, and then we sew it back together to perform basically the exact same task that it was
yeah,
going to perform before. But it's prettier and we like it. And we spent tens and tens of hours on this, task of sewing it all together. And then we quilt it and then we gift it for free,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
um, but to be in a room with other people who understand that and get it, it's just this energy that is impossible to describe. And I've
yeah.
tried to replicate that in like the retreat thing too. So you're gonna have to come to my retreat, Beth,
That would be
and
so fun.
like experience it. I know it's hard to explain because you've got little ones at home and you're thinking like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to like rest. But
Yeah.
like I take care of like I share all my favorite recipes with you that are like make ahead recipes. So you can just like run, put it in the oven, be like, y'all eat. I'm gonna go sew, you know?
Cool.
And then like just kind of getting in the mindset of taking that time for yourself is really, really important. And you do walk away refreshed, even though you don't
Yeah.
leave your house. So
Yeah, especially as a mom too, because you had mentioned, a new time mom. You need that identity outside of motherhood, and that's why I started. So, and then also to make those connections, because with the pandemic, you're not going out as much. You're not, guilds aren't getting together, and a lot of the festivals and shows were canceled. So you kind of felt isolated for a bit. So it is really nice to feel part of the community and reach out and be like, I do have like a sisterhood, brotherhood
yes.
of people who get me, who I'm not going to annoy if I talk about quilting 24/7 because I do that with a lot of people in my life. So that's why I'm here talking about quilting with you because you
Yes.
get it and you enjoy talking about it. It's a passion of yours, and
I do.
that's
I
very
love it.
apparent. Yeah, that's amazing. Let's see.
Delia asked when the retreat starts. The retreat is in August 21st, I think it is.
Oh wow, it's
Um,
coming up.
yeah, it's coming up. If can I share a link real quick? Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Let me see if I can jump in here and get it real quick because I can probably get it like
Yeah, and we can pin it.
faster.
So if anyone's interested, it'll be pinned at the top of the comments for anyone who wants to access it later on.
So,
That sounds so much fun. I remember your last one. I think I even emailed you and I was like, well, I have three small children and they're probably going to like pop in and say hello and I don't want to bother anybody. But yeah, if I do go on, you're gonna meet Addie and Zoe probably. You met Louise already. I might have Austin come down and say, what's up? But it'll
it's
be a whole
okay.
family
It's
affair.
very casual because
Yeah.
again, I know we're all like at home. I can't share in the chat actually.
Hold
I don't
on.
know where it is. But it's just stitch.academy. You'll find it there if somebody can like type that in real quick. Oh, August 21st is Amy's birthday. Happy birthday early.
Aw. All right, I'm copying it. Here we go.
Yeah, and it's Starlight Retreat.
We'll pin
So
that. There we go. This was fun.
Practically Creative asked if I have a live going on my channel. I think so.
She does. She
Okay,
should. I
I think
don't
I
even
do.
know the technology anymore. Yes, I'm pretty sure. So how did you land on I See Stars Quilting? I've been curious. I know it's kind of like out of the realm of our question, but
It's okay.
how did you land on that name and what does it mean to you?
Um, I'm obsessed with stars. I wish it like went really, really deep and like some meaningful like conversation thing. Like, so I marketing is my background. I love a catchy name. And
Yeah.
like I just whenever I see quilts and stuff when I first started quilting, whenever I see another quilt or I go to a quilt show or something, I just get really, really giddy and like I turn into this like 5-year-old that is in a candy shop and I just get like so excited and it's exactly like that little emoji with like the stars,
Yep.
hovering over the head and like the little halo of stars and all that. That's me. Okay. And so I See Stars Quilting just kind of rolled off the tongue and then it stuck and like that was it. So
Yeah.
I wish it was a lot like deeper than that. But no,
Well, you're
I'm
fantastic.
obsessed with stars. They're
So,
everywhere in like my oh wait, hold on,
yeah,
there's a star right there. So yeah.
that's awesome. I really enjoy hearing like your background because when I see your channel, it's like so well put together. The colors, the
Aw.
thumbnail, the design of it all, and I've always like wondered because like we had talked about this in the chat. I'm like, I know some content creators send things out to Fiverr and everything. So it's really cool that you get that hands-on, like you are in full control of what
It's
you
a
want
team
to
of
do.
one, man.
Yes, that is amazing that you have that vision and you just execute it. You just do it and it looks really good. So,
Thank you. That means a lot because sometimes like the computer will say like you need your administrator's permission or you need to talk to your administrator and I'm like I
no.
know I don't have an administrator. I don't have somebody to like hey, does this look good?
Yeah.
No, it's just it's just me.
I
And
just
also I love pink, so I really don't have to like sometimes it's a good thing because I don't have to ask somebody else's opinion. I'm just like, I'm gonna put pink all over this thing and
I like the pink
people
and
are
it's
gonna
like
love it or people are gonna
fun.
hate it. And
I love it. It's so like
oh
cheerful.
good. Thank you.
Let's see. Let me go through and see if there are any ones. So here's a good one. What are some of your favorite YouTubers? So when you're going on YouTube and you're watching something, who are you watching as a content creator?
Oh, this is a hard one because there's a lot of them on there. And I also watch a lot for like market research.
Yeah.
Like I really love watching we talked a little bit earlier, Melanie Ham's channel.
Yeah.
Like I was so obsessed with her like in the early days and just seeing the things that she was creating. There's oh goodness, what's her name? She makes bags. I'm gonna have to think on it
Is
for a
her name
second.
Annie? I think I'm. Is it Annie? Maybe not.
Oh no, it's not Annie. It's nah. I can't think of her name right now, but she makes a lot of like bags. I don't watch as
Okra?
many.
Is it Okra Roots?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Oakland
I
Roots.
love her
That was
too.
awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, because I was like, I don't
Yeah,
remember what her name is,
she's
but
amazing.
I watch her a lot because I like her style of video, and I really love to. I don't make bags very much, like the complicated bags that she
Yeah,
makes, but I really love to see what she does.
yeah.
And like I love her room. I love her room.
I love her Disney fabric. I love her love
Yes.
for Disney fabric. And when she's always, because I used to watch her stories on Instagram religiously. And like those stories, like she shares a lot of stories. And I would just be sitting there like, oh, look at that vinyl. Like there's Lilo and Stitch in there. I am such a 4-year-old. So I love her style. And I feel like you and her are a little similar. And like, your delivery, like you're very bubbly and personable, and she brings that there. So Oakland Roots, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yes, I love that one. I do love watching why is my mind like going absolutely blank right now? Quilting is my therapy. Angela
Yes,
Walters.
yes.
Yes. She doesn't post as often now, but like I mean, she's got way too much stuff going on. Like I
Yeah,
get it. I'm not downing her at all.
yeah,
She's made it and she's amazing. But I loved watching her Midnight Quilt Show a long time ago
yes.
because it felt so relatable.
It did.
Like,
And
you know, she was sitting there drinking wine and eating like popcorn and
popcorn.
M&Ms, and I was like, me too. Like, this is
Yeah.
my sanity time is in here at night. So I love watching her. Uh, Missouri Star. I love some of their tutorials and stuff. That one's kind of like a pick and choose, but
Yeah.
I guess I don't really have like one particular that I follow. I follow a lot more people on Instagram to
Yeah.
see like their style of quilting and stuff on Instagram.
Angela Walters is going to be here next weekend. They're doing the quilt walk, and her and Tula Pink are going to be like doing book signings and
You're
like the
going,
whole.
right?
Yes, I'm going. I'm like,
Okay.
finally a quilt thing happening in Kansas City where it's like I can actually go and not have to pay airfare. I'm like, I'm going, and I'm dragging my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law with me. But I'm really excited to meet her.
That's so fun. Okay,
Yeah.
you're going to be in that energy of quilters that I talked about.
I know.
And it's like if you take a bunch of boys to like a gun and boat show and like they're just all super high and there's just money flying out like everywhere and like, but way better because it's good.
Austin's gonna probably take my wallet before I go because he knows how I get when I see pretty fabric. I will have my mother-in-law with me, so I'll be a little bit more like, tone it down. But I was literally thinking, I'm like, do I just bring a quilt and wrap up in it and just walk around? Like, would that be weird? Or is other people gonna be doing it, you know?
I don't know. They started wearing like quilt jackets and stuff, except it's
True.
July. So, I mean, June. It's June.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost got like too far ahead of myself. But I would wear like something really, really bright. People tend to get very like dressed up where you can see your party from like a mile away.
Yeah. I'm nervous, but I'm really excited. So
it's gonna be so much fun. Okay, if you see Angela, give her a hug. She's gonna have no clue who I am, but give her a hug for me.
You know what's funny? So my husband, and some of my viewers know this, but he has a connection to Angela Walters. So he's an accountant, and his friend who's in IT, he is the husband to one of Angela Walters, like Irene. Her name's Irene. She's the one that picks out all of her fabric and like does the quilting. They're like this, and I'm like, Austin, oh my goodness. One day he was just like, Beth, oh my gosh. I'm like, what? He's like, well, my coworker was asking about the Midnight Quilter. And I was like, and what'd you say? And he's like, Angela Walters? I'm like, yes, score one for you knew it. And he's like, yeah. So I kind of have a connection there. It'll never get me anywhere. I know this, but you know, I'm just like, I feel kind of close to her.
I am dying to do, they have like retreats or like tours or whatever that you can go and you can do Missouri Star, and then they'll load you all up on a bus and you can go to Angela's shop too. Like it's like a week-long thing, almost like if you were to go on like a travel group to like Italy or somewhere like that, except it's quilt people.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a blast. Have you been to Missouri Star Quilt or Hamilton out there, or not yet?
Not yet. I'm dying to go. Nobody in my family would care.
I'll go with you. No one.
Okay, so I've talked about that. I'm like, I just need to get like, go on YouTube and say like, who wants to go?
Yeah.
Who wants to go? Because we will all just fly there, meet up, and like have an absolute ball.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be like super coordinated. I just want to go.
Let's just go and spend like a couple days there, blow all of our money, and go home with fabulous fabric.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a dream, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the quilt show is here in Texas too.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know this because I'm still like relatively new. And so I'm not really aware of like what's around me, like guild wise and that kind of stuff. And my local quilt shop, the owner was like, we have a festival in Kansas City every 2 years, and it's in the summer. And so I guess last year it was canceled. I would have known about it, but you know, pandemic, world events, they canceled it. So next summer they're going to have a huge festival. It sounds comparable to what you have out in Texas. So I am like keeping that on my calendar, going to go. That'll be my closest experience to QuiltCon, I think, until it's a little bit closer again.
Yes.
So I'm really excited for that, to be in that atmosphere.
That is the good thing about QuiltCon is it shifts.
Yeah.
around. Like it'll spend a little bit of time on the East Coast, then it'll swap to the West Coast. Then like I went to the one in Austin, and that was my first quilt con to go to.
Oh,
And because I was like, that's 3 hours for me. I have no excuse. Like,
yeah.
get in
You
the
have
car,
to go.
we're going.
Exactly.
And I loved every second of it. I didn't go to the one in Phoenix, even though I really, really wanted to. It collided with some other events, but I
Yeah.
do plan on being at the one in Atlanta in February.
Wow,
So
that's so exciting. I hope you have a wonderful time too. Maybe if I can work a miracle, I'll be out there too, because
oh my
that's
goodness, yes.
fun.
It is so fun. Somebody asked when the big quilt show is. Teresa asked when the big quilt show is in Texas. Every single year, right around Halloween. It's either like early
Ooh,
November or like end of October, but it kind of like shifts back and forth. So,
it would
and
be
it's
perfect too.
yeah, it's actually like decent weather.
Nice.
So, like if you're gonna come down here, don't come down in August. Like, don't do it. It's
I can't
terrible.
handle it. I'm built for the Midwest. I have a friend out in Austin, and I for some reason have always thought that the South and the Midwest were pretty much interchangeable. We both say y'all. You know, we like we like some of the same things, and she's like, "No, Beth, the South is not the Midwest." So
There's
she
no
has to
snow down here. No, no.
Yeah, I can't do anything over like 80. I'm uncomfortable. I'm done.
Well, like the heat index this weekend was like 106. So
Oh my goodness.
we
Oh
stay
my.
inside.
Yeah, I would be too. Oh man. That's too hot. That's too hot.
It is too hot. I agree. I agree totally, but I don't do snow. We lived in Washington State for about a year after we got
Ooh.
married because my husband was in the Navy. And so I moved up there to be with him.
Yeah.
And I'm used to Texas snow, which like it'll snow and then by the next morning it's like gone and like we're good. It's gone away. And I fell down so many times on like
Oh,
wet, icy sidewalks
yeah.
just because I didn't pay attention. But like by the end of it, it was like never again, never again.
Is beautiful. They have even more snow than we do here, it feels like. I feel like this is a hit or miss. It's like every 2 or 3 years you're gonna just get hit with snow. But Washington is just brutal, but it's beautiful out there. So I'm
It
jealous.
is.
I'm a Navy brat, so that's really cool that
Oh,
your husband's in the Navy. My dad was in the Navy, so thank you to, I mean, your husband, but also you, the families.
thank you.
Sacrificed a lot of time and everything for being in the service. So thank you for that. That's amazing. I
Well,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. You too. You kind of followed around with it for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah.
My husband did submarines
Oh
and he served
wow.
10 years. So
Wow.
after the 10 years was up, I said, "We're going home."
We're done.
Yes.
Do
We're
not
going
stop.
home.
My dad was in the air. He was in helicopters. So he was a pilot and an instructor. And so that's cool. We got submarines, helicopters.
We got the everything covered. Yeah.
Are you ready for some fun questions? And then we
Yeah.
can open up the chat. If any of our viewers have any questions that you would ask Kristen, or if you'd like to ask, we can go through those when we're done. So I just have a bunch of like fun random ones. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. Pin basting or spray basting?
Spray.
All day.
Yeah.
Yardage versus pre-cuts.
Oh no. I've I've recently really fallen in love with pre-cuts. Um but I still love my yardage. I
Yeah.
do, but pre-cuts are like already matched. They're already good to go. Like it's done. I even did like several months of like pre-cut videos on my
Oh
channel too
yeah. Yeah.
that were just like project after project after project. Can I go half and half on that one?
You can. You can.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know what the rules are, but I like them both.
I mean, yardage makes for good backings too. It makes it
Yes.
easier. If you were to pick like one pre-cut, what is your favorite pre-cut? Are you a fat quarter, jelly roll, charm pack? What's your like go-to pre-cut?
Layer cakes, the 10-inch ones.
Layer cakes. Yes, that's a good one. Let's see. FPP or traditional?
Um, foundation paper piecing, if it's going to be paper piecing. I have a English paper piecing project that will never ever ever be finished because I don't have a size. It's just like scrap pieces, but it'll never be finished. So I'm going to go with foundation paper piecing.
I appreciate that. I'm an FPP all day. So I love traditional piecing, but I am terrible at it. I feel like since I've been doing a lot of FPP. Are there any techniques, speaking of FPP, that in quilting you wanted to try, like collage quilting or, applique?
I would love to get better at applique. I actually was gifted a little AccuQuilt.
Oh, cool.
And I have a friend who's really really obsessed with it, and she has like a small fortune in all of the little like cut things and little templates, right? So I've borrowed several from her, like with the idea that, and I just have the little tiniest one, but with the idea that I'm gonna figure this out and I'm gonna get better at it. So far it's all in a nice little stack for when I have time for it, but I want to get better at applique because I have a whole bunch of templates to use for it.
Oh, cool. Applique is fun. It's tricky though, I feel like. Let's see. Do you have a name for your sewing machine? Do you name your sewing machine or no? Oh no.
You're gonna call me out. Well, my first one, which I not the very very first sewing machine, but like the one that I said like I'm gonna be a quilter now, and I upgraded my sewing machine. That one was Jolene. This one's Sophia. I mean I don't like call them by name or call out to them or anything, but like in my head they do have a name and they have a personality, and sometimes they get really sassy with it. So yeah,
that's so funny.
Okay, you have to tell me yours though.
I don't have a name for it. That's why I added this, because there's some people that are like, I name every machine. Mine is just like, I put stickers on it. Like, that's my thing. I really like, oh man, this mirror option. I like putting all my favorite stickers. So I've got a lot of like gingerbread on there, and that's how I kind of give it personality. But I haven't named it yet. I'm too scared to commit to one name, you know?
Oh.
And some days it's like, oh, I love you. And some days you're like, ah.
Yeah, that's when like they should have like a first and a middle and a last name.
Yeah.
Because like that's the you're in trouble name. Yep. Like even still, like my mom can say my full name and I'm a grown adult and it still scares me to my core.
Yeah. Same. You're like, oh no.
Yes. Like, what have I done?
What machine do you use? What do you sew on?
So I love Janome brand machines. I don't have a ton of experience with other machines. I can tell you that. Like I've sewn on them at friends' houses and stuff, but Janome feels very intuitive to me. Yeah. So the way that I like to sew. So I used to sew on a 3160 QDC, which is just kind of like their medium level model. And I have their upper level model now, which is a Memory Craft 15,000. Oh, wow. And it's a big, expensive machine, and I love it so much.
Yeah, that's so special.
But this one does not leave my house. If I have to travel or I go to a friend's house, and so I take the other one.
Yeah, so. I think that's understandable. I would do the same thing.
Yes.
I do have a question from my friend Heather, and we've decided to add it into Meet the Makers because it is a very polarizing question. It is very polarizing.
Okay.
And it is talking about flying geese blocks. So when you have a singular flying geese block, would you call it a flying goose block?
I thought it was going to be so much deeper. I was like, oh God, a flying goose. No, it's still a geese because the flying geese, like the actual goose doesn't make this. Yeah. But when the geese are in the sky, they fly in like this. So it's still like a bunch of geese, but from far away.
Okay. Oh, I'll let her know. She'll watch.
I don't know. I made that up on the spot. I have nothing to back that up. But I know that they call it a flying geese because that's the shape the geese make in the sky. Yeah. But I might call it a goose. I have a funny story. You want to hear one?
Yes.
So quilters come up with like ridiculous names for everything, right?
Yep.
Like we have our own language. We have like this like shorthand of like a HST, which has square triangle, you know, all this.
Yeah.
And I just kind of I learn a lot from some older ladies that my mom's friends with, and I lean on them heavily for my quilting knowledge sometimes. And we talked about earlier like the chain piecing when you pull it up and there's like all like the strings that hang down and stuff. And one of them told me it's called a waffle. And I was like, well, that sounds legit. So like I went to my quilt shop and I was talking to a bunch of other ladies there, and I said, well, you know, when you make the quilt waffle, and they were like, the heck is wrong? Like, what is that? I was like, you can't tell me that that is any more ridiculous than any of the other stuff that you come up with. And so now in my head, it's always a quilt waffle, but I always have to laugh because like I thought it was a waffle. Like she totally got me on that one. I didn't even question it. So
That's
if you feel like
hilarious.
you don't know what quilters are talking about all the time, it's all made up, okay? It's all made up. Somebody just decided to like write it down one day and we all kind of started practicing it. But
And if you are newer to quilting and you don't know what the heck we're talking about, Kristen does have a great video breaking down like every abbreviation or, you know, all of the quilt jargon. So if you are interested in expanding your quilting language, head over
waffle's
to
not
her
on there.
page and check out. No, waffle's not on there. I was like, I don't remember that one.
It's not. They made it up to mess with me. And I just like stupidly was like, that's legit. It's yeah, I can see it looks like a waffle.
Do you belong to like a guild? Because you were saying you went to a group. So are you part of a guild or a group outside of, you know, personal quilting?
I am a member of the Modern Quilt Guild, like the national level. As far as
Yeah.
local goes, no. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I live in Houston, okay? Like this ginormous city. There's tons of meetups. There's lots of groups. There's different nights of the week and like and all of that. And I just can't like visit them all and see where I fit in.
Yeah.
So I mostly find my community online. I have a couple when I say I go with girls, I happen to have like an older quilter who adopted me, and like we just
wow.
like I just go with her group and
Yeah.
we have a good time. It's me and all people who are my mom's age.
Oh,
but
that's amazing.
I'm very, very lucky because like I said, they're wonderful, but I
Yeah.
question everything they tell me now because
Yeah.
they're a fun group. But I am a member of the Modern Quilt Guild, and I do love supporting that in the Quilt Con and all that they put on.
Yeah.
Their website is very, very informational as far as like the patterns that you can get and the different speakers that they have come on there. So it is worth it to be a member of one.
Were they at QuiltCon? It may be wrong, so correct me, but was it that guild that, you know, you had some guidelines of you had to do certain shapes, certain color palette, and then all of the guilds from around? It's one big guild, or are there ones based out in different cities? Does that make sense? There was like a group project from a guild at QuiltCon.
There are a lot of like contest pieces and stuff, and they kind of vary per event.
Yeah.
But like there is like a national level of Modern Quilt Guild, and like anybody can join that. It's like $30 a year. It's really like it's not much. And actually, my quilt shop gives me a discount if I'm a member of a guild. So believe me, that $30 is like well spent. But then there's local chapters of it as well. So, and then I think you have to pay to be in the local chapters as well. But I don't know exactly for that specific project whether it was national or local.
All right. Well, yeah, I saw. I think it was my local quilt shop. I think she's part of it. Might be the Modern Quilt Guild. I'm not sure, but she was talking about how they had that project and there was different interpretations throughout all these different guilds, and it blew my mind. I was like, that's amazing. This is what quilting's all about: having one idea and seeing it 20 different ways. You know, that's really cool. But I've gotten through all of my questions, and so I just want to open it up to the chat. If there are any questions that you have for her that you'd like to ask before she hops off, I'll go through and see if we missed any.
Okay, I did see some that kind of like floated down, but yeah, I'm happy to answer. I am an open book. Like, I don't mind sharing the mistakes that I've made and like the things that I've learned. I will definitely share the way how not to do things. Okay. Because your time is precious and you don't want to waste it. If I can teach you something that will save you time later on, there's no need for both of us to suffer. So
yeah. What's been like your silliest quilt mistake? Like, what's the silliest thing you've ever done?
I don't know if it's like silly, but like I quilted an entire like very complicated like half square triangle quilt, and after I got all the quilting done and I like put it up on the wall so I could take a picture of it, and I realized one of them was crooked. And there's no going back to fix it at that point.
Yeah.
So and it was like silly per se, but it's like you just look at it and you go, oh my God. And of course, probably nobody else is going to notice, but
yeah,
I know it's wrong.
you'll remember it. You'll look at that quilt and your eyes will directly go to one
I won't
spot.
see any of the things I did right and all the right corners and everything. Yeah, it will be that quilt probably.
I think my silliest one was I was cutting fabric for a quilt and I had a tape measure underneath my fabric and I just sliced right through it. And I was like, well, I guess I have to go get another tape measure. I was just like, how did I do that? Why did I not feel it when I was cutting it? But I think that's probably the silliest thing. Like, what? And then when I first started out, when I would start quilting, I would always get the backing would fold up and I would quilt it down. And that was like the worst thing. It happened so much. I'm like, no, I have to seam rip the quilting out. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, no, those are all mistakes I've made too. I just figure that's part of the learning curve. And like, if you do it enough times, you will, you'll learn to like be extra cautious.
Yeah. Austin's got a question. Oh, there we go. Melissa, have you remodeled your sewing room again?
Is that for me?
I think so.
Melissa, my sewing room is in a constant state of assessing what my needs are, assessing what storage space I need, and figuring out what I can get out of here and what needs to happen. So remodeled, not really remodeled. I did add another one of these shelves, which is why it's so messy back there. You're probably gonna see me do like a video because I wanna set it up really, really pretty. And I may do a video when I do that. I haven't decided yet. But I did add another one of those shelves over there. So I can show you a little bit. It's like it gets messier as it goes.
Oh my God.
Like it's bad. That's why I'm like, look at this corner. It's so nice right here. Yes. So not really remodeled. I added another shelf because my fabric it's starting to get where you have to like put the fabric in and close the door real quick.
Exactly. I told myself at the very beginning, once the fabric stops fitting in this armoire, I'll stop buying it. And
That's
then
so
just
cute.
the other week, I put like a storage thing on top of it, and one of the viewers was like, Beth, I'm calling you out. That's not in your armoire. That's on top of it. So, yep.
Still contained.
Shut the thing. It works. It's in the same space. It's all good. What is your local quilt shop? That's a question.
Well, it is called, hold on, they just changed the name of it. The Quilty Shop is what it's called now, but it's in Tomball. It's about, like, I'm talking like small quilt shop, not like Joann's or Hobby Lobby. It's about, I don't know, about half an hour or so from me. And then there's another really, really good one about an hour in Southeast Houston that I go to very rarely.
Oh, cool. Here's a good one. Have you ever cut yourself or sewn over your finger?
Of course. Of course. Of course. Yeah, I actually cut myself one time on the rotary cutter when I wasn't even using the rotary cutter.
Oh my goodness.
I was on my way to a quilt retreat and I had I had like a thing of all of my tools, and it fell over in the back of my car. And so I was pulling up stuff, and it was just in the wrong position. I've got a different rotary cutter now that like actually like locks. But yeah, it had just fallen over, and like it, I mean, it sliced like big time to the point where like I was like, I came and I was like, look at all these women know what to do with a rotary cutter like issue.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't end up needing stitches, but I was in the middle of filming like a series of videos, and so then I had like this huge wrap around my finger.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That was a bad one because I thought like I'm by myself. This is not the way I decided to go. Like no, like I
Quilting
mean,
takes
blood's
you
like
out.
coming down. Like, yeah, I've gotten really close to sewing over my finger, but it hasn't actually like penetrated my finger. So.
Knock on wood. Definitely knock on wood right now. Recently I cut my finger for the first time. I was on a video call with a friend. We were sewing, having a great time, and I was so embarrassed. I like cut and I didn't even know I cut my finger at first. And I looked down
It's
and I was
quick,
like,
right?
oh man, like you just see the blood, especially if it's a fresh blade. I'm so sorry if this is making you queasy, hop on out. But
Yeah,
I was
sorry.
like, I cut my finger, and I was like, I think I have to go now. And I was like, I'll talk to you later. And I was like, Austin, I think we have to go to the hospital. But that was my first time, and I feel like it's some kind of like quilting initiation. Really sucky, but I feel like so many of us have done it, and it's terrible.
Is, and it goes so deep, so
Oh
fast.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I did see another one. Karen asks, who is your favorite pattern designer?
Ooh. I don't really go by like pattern designer. I take inspiration from a lot of people. Probably my biggest inspiration comes more from the fabric than like the actual quilt design.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I do like Quiet Play. I love like her paper piecing designs. But really it has to be the fabric that inspires me. And then I go on the hunt for the quilt pattern that will allow it to shine.
Well, your sewing machine cover that you made with the Quiet Play FPP design on it, I was watching your videos like a year ago, and I looked at it, I'm like, Austin, I want to make a sewing machine just like hers because I loved it. It's so cute. It's like little buttons are on there too, it looks like. Mm-hmm. And so then I was like, well, shoot, I have to learn FPP. Like, can I do it? So you actually...
That was my first venture into FPP too.
Yeah, you were like, I was like, I want to make that. That's so cute. And I think that was what finally got me to step into it. And I'm so glad that I was just watching the video and I was like, I think that's adorable. The funny thing is, let me grab it. I'm going to have to like, I put scrap batting in it. But I made this giant sewing cover drawing from yours. There's a goldfish box in it. I did not line it. We're being honest here. But here was my first ever.
Oh, look at it.
So I was like, I want to figure out how to make it just like yours. I remember watching and I was like, would it be weird if I messaged her and asked what the pattern was? Because like you can see, I'm not good at eyeballing, like that'll work. So yeah, thank you for...
No, I get questions on that a lot and people are like, what's your pattern? Like, I need to do like a mini class or something that like explains step by step what I did, because that was such a fun project. But like I just designed it as I went. I was like, yes, we need a pocket here, and like all the buttons that are on the front of it were because my grandma gave me a tin of buttons that she had collected for like, I don't know, forever. You know, like every button that came with a dress shirt or something, she put it in case we needed it. In a tin. And so it's all of like her buttons that are on the front of it, and I just used scrap fabric and I kept going. And that I wanted to make that piece, but I didn't, from Quiet Play with the sewing machine, but I didn't know what to do with it. So as I finished it, I was like, it's about the same size.
It's so yeah, you should definitely, like, I know you are a busy person, but maybe in the future, because I know
it's on the list.
If it caught my eye, and there's a lot of people that want to get started in FPP, so a sewing machine cover would be brilliant just to get them like in it. Let's
I
see.
did try and partner with her on that pattern, but she didn't want to.
Oh no! I think
yeah,
it would be great. That's so silly.
because like I've had several magazines pick up that quilt cover too,
Yeah.
and like show it, and then I get like an influx of responses of like, how do I make that? How do I do that?
Yeah.
It's not really my pattern, and
That's crazy.
so yeah.
Whenever you do come up with it, I'm gonna be the first one. I'm gonna be emailing you like, okay.
It has to happen soon because my new machine doesn't have a cover.
Oh wow.
And
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
I need to do one, and then I also want to make one for my long arm, but it's on the list, it's on the list.
Man, now I want to ask you long arming questions. Maybe another time. I would love to hear
Yeah.
about that, but I don't want to take up the
That
rest
one
of
is still a new venture for me. So
Really? How long have you had it? How long have you been?
I've had it since September, but it was a very, very rocky start. So
Yeah. There's a lot to learn and it's intimidating. It's a huge machine. I feel like I'd be just afraid to breathe on it. I'd be like, okay.
like it's really, really fun and I love it, but it doesn't feel as natural to me yet.
Yeah.
So
You'll get there. You'll get
Yeah.
there. It takes time. Let's do one more question from
Okay.
the chat. I see, what is the name brand of the laser seam guide that you showed on your channel a while ago?
So it is Vivilux, and I should have put like a link down underneath that video, but it's hold on, that's Velcro. But there you go, it's Vivilux.
Oh, nice.
And so yeah, it's all like USB charged, and yeah, I was gonna say, is it out? But like it has like a really, really strong laser on it, so it does, like I have the straight one on there right now, but I have a little bit of Velcro right on top of my machine, and I use it all the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I really, really do like it.
I do have, okay, I said one more question. Let's do two more, because someone's asking, Laura is saying, what brand long arm do you have?
I have another Janome.
Nice.
I've kind of found my lane, and I stay in it because I wanted to work with the same type of machine. But it is an 18-inch, so it's a really good one. It just, we have it set up at like the 12-foot table, and they put it in my master bedroom. So
wow.
That's part of the learning curve, is like working around that. But
yeah.
But yes.
And this is my husband. He has been dying to have this question asked. He's like, you need to ask it. You need to ask it. So you're invited to a potluck. What do you bring and make to the potluck?
Cookies. Always.
Cookies.
I'm an excellent baker. I mean, my personal opinion. I actually do like ice decorated cookies. Ooh. If I really, really love a person. My best friend and I had a business for a long time where we did on the side, and we did decorated iced sugar cookies, and we got really, really good at it.
Wow.
And but time wise and stuff, they take a really long time to do. So if I love you, I might bring those.
Oh, that's so sweet.
If I just love you a little bit, then I still will make good cookies, but it'll probably be like chocolate chip with walnut.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. That sounds really good. Well, I'm glad I asked it. He's like just dying. Like, come on, what is she bringing to a potluck? And we see people in the chat are chiming in to what they would bring to a truffle, maybe strawberry. I don't even know what that is, but that sounds fancy.
Ooh.
I think, let's see. I think that is all. I'm not seeing any more. Okay, a slow cooker lasagna. That sounds delicious.
Ooh. You can come to our potluck. Bring the lasagna. I'll take care of the desserts. Somebody is bringing, is that garlic olive oil shrimp with broccoli and linguine? Oh, you got like super fancy. I was just
what
like,
kind of potluck are you going to? I'm going to a potluck with like hot dogs and macaroni.
Wow.
Like the top echelon foods. Oh, that's hilarious. My sister says cheese dip. And then we've got Sean, he's from Australia. Sometimes I bring Australian sausage rolls. I don't even know what that is, Sean, but that sounds very delicious. I like sausage.
Yeah, you can come too. Yeah,
Yes. That's awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you again to you for sharing your time with us tonight and responding. Honestly, just I'm so humbled that you even like saw my message and you're like, sure, like that's really cool of you. And I had a
Aw,
asking you questions and hanging out with you. I feel like we're pals now, and we know each other.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that at that. Is there anything that you would like to say before we hop off?
No, I really, really enjoyed this. And I love talking to quilters. So I try my hardest to get back to all my emails and like DMs and stuff. Um, just because I think it's really, really helpful to have somebody
Yeah,
to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Can
yeah.
you help me out?
Help,
Yeah,
SOS.
exactly. Like I don't know what I'm, I try and be there for people. And I've really, really enjoyed tonight too. Thank you for asking me. Like I feel very happy and appreciated, and I've really had a good time.
Oh, that's amazing. I appreciate hearing that. Yeah, I had a blast. Thank you. I could say thank you 1,000 times. But I think that's going to wrap up for tonight. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you to the
Yes.
moderators who kept the riffraff out, as Sobecca says. Thank you for the questions and, just being here with us tonight and having a nice quilty conversation. It's been a ton of fun. I'm going to let Kristen get back to the rest of her evening, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend too. Hopefully it's not too hot tomorrow, and I'll talk to you later.
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you to the people who showed up too. I'm sorry if I've missed some of your questions, but y'all are welcome to email me. Let me know, and I hope that you're gonna come to the retreat, Beth.
I need to. Yes, I will be checking my email. I will be signing up, definitely. That sounds like so much fun. But you will meet my kids. That's the other part of it.
You probably will meet mine too. I mean,
Perfect.
if my husband is not home or if he's working, they will be in here, or you'll hear a dog. I mean, it's very casual.
That's good. I'm excited for that. That sounds like my perfect atmosphere because everything seems so formal, and I'm like, no, I can't go to that. I can't do this, or
Yeah.
stay at home mom schedule. It's like I can't make it to that time, and so to have it at home and have it casual and have you understand that my kids are crazy sometimes,
Yes.
I'm all in. So I will definitely be signing up and seeing you for the retreat. So
Okay, that sounds great.
all right, well, bye everyone. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.